So it's another day and another time for a spotlight overview. So like Karnak is being buffed as we know. His abilities as it stands, there's not a huge amount going on. So literally it's a blank canvas to work with to make this champion ramp up more. And we're going to be going over the spotlight and see like whether or not there is any kind of tasty changes that are coming the champion's way. Because like this seems like this is the overhaul where Nebula just felt like it was the value, if anything. Karnak has spent his time blah 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 meditating. Blah, blah, blah. So no longer is his 65% resilience to poison shackled by meaningless things such as signature abilities. It has simply become part of him. So as we said with Nebula yesterday, it becomes part of his abilities. Remaining always active, giving him utility with liquid courage right out of the box. So suicide friendly, possibly. His focus charge allows him to hone in on some of his opponent's weak points, and they build over time, increasing the critical rating and granting the ability to deal crit damage through blocks. So that's kind of like Massacre. His crushing heavy attacks amplify his crit damage with a devastating 20-second fragility. If you don't read that, I'm just like, it seems like I'm saying something else. Virginity. And his damage output is only further increased with a 30-second passive Fury on SP2. Those who believe they're protected by auto block and or evade will be equalized with Karnak's SP1 granting a true strike passive, and not even thick skin can protect those unfortunate enough to battle an awakened Karnak who can bypass up to 100% physical resistance with his new signature ability. It definitely is like a far change on paper to what we had with what we've got in game right now. As I said, like, you know, signature ability is gone, and passives, it still retains certain things like the SP1 and as well SP2, which we'll get on in a minute, of how passive fury can be built and how it maybe could be beneficial as well. So poison resistance good, that's fun for Suicide Masteries, something to test out with. I think that's what I'll do, is when I do my test, I'll do it with Suicide Masteries. And always active is that physical resistance and block proficiency against basic attacks. Handy to take damage in a block. Incoming non-damaging debuff suffer from minus 60% duration. Handy because that is good. I've got a 200, no, I don't have a 200 signature. I've got the one in, I wonder if I've got like a 5-star version that's got like any kind of like higher signature. Or maybe have a look at the 4-star version. That's probably the best because I've probably got that close to 99. So the point I'm going to get to is scalability with that ability. No, I don't actually. So that's annoying. But I would say that maybe it just gets the higher route of kind of like close to 65% or 60%, which it has currently. So it doesn't feel like a huge change. And just actually checking, the 3-star gets like a 50%, so it's kind of like it's good at the end of the day. As well, every focus charge, every 12 seconds, Karnak gains a focus charge to a max of 3. Karnak's focus timer is paused for 10 seconds each time he's struck and has a loses a charge of focus and struck by a special attack. 1 charge equals plus 2,566 critical rating, and then 2 charges basic attacks can land critical hits into the opponent's block. Critical hit based abilities will no longer trigger through the block. 3 charges basic attacks have 50% chance to inflict a burst of bleed damage equal to 35% of the damage dealt by the attack. Okay, nice. And Kabam say that as long as Karnak has 1 focus charge, he will no longer lose his increased critical rating when being struck by basic attacks. I guess this is just going to be one of these cases of, look, on paper, I can see what Kabam are doing, and the building of the charges seem good, but it's then just a case of like, is it going to transfer well enough to be a champion of usage? I can imagine so, especially if you've got that True Strike SP1. That's going to be easy rotatable, and it's still 15 seconds for that to last, which is actually better than it was. That is a buff right there. Jumping the gun a little bit, I've just noticed, because one of the big things you could say about like the champion is like, well, you want to use them as an option for certain things like Mixmaster or situations where you need to suppress evade-based abilities. Maybe this is a sort of go-to champion. It's, as well, for me, if you've got a synergy team of Medusa, Black Bolt with Hitmonkey, and Karnak. That's 4 positions taken up with kind of some really kind of spicy, strong champions. So the main thing with this is going like, right, is he going to fit into a usable standpoint? Especially going, okay, well, of that team of 4, he is going to be a good option for True Strike. He's going to be a good option for certain fights. So it's really kind of seeing whether or not he could be that for players. And this is when a heavy attack comes in. Consume 1 focus charge to inflict a stacking 20-second fragility debuff. Attacking a fragile opponent grants 5-5 critical damage rating and reduces block proficiency by 50%. This attack does not consume focus charge if the opponent is intercepted, recovering from the use of a special attack, or charging or executing a heavy attack. So if you aren't planning on, if you're keeping it easy and parry heavy, then that is going to be how you're going to play. But it will be risk to reward if you intercept a special attack, intercept or whatever with that heavy attack. Now, as we said, and as we jump the gun here, that the SP1 gets a buff of to up to 15 seconds, where currently it's based on this one, it's 8.5, but I can imagine that's I want to say that's that Karnak, there's a maxed Karnak there, so I want to say that 8.5 remains, especially if we look at my rank 1 6-star version, which should give us some indication on the full scale. So the SP1 there, oh no, it's 8.5. So whether or not that would go up at a point of rank, that will be the next thing as well. But I'm going to go with possibly that is a buff there, or up to 15 seconds, which would be handy if that is indeed the case, because you'll be able to kind of like deal with certain evade-based champions, of course. And a little bit of reading along, you see that knocking down the opponent will pause the True Strike passive for 3 seconds. So that, again, is positive news, as if you're able to do, like, I don't know, parry heavy several times, and then rotate around the SP1, it gives you more of a longer time that you'll be able to suppress evade-based abilities. So I love it. I think it's great. The SP2 now has more of a punch to it, with 100% chance to gain a passive Fury effect, increasing attack by 1179 for 30 seconds. The Fury is paused for 5 seconds each time the opponent is knocked down. Same principle. That's great. And Dev says Fury scaling with the opponent's HP has been replaced by a value equivalent to the former's max potency. Karnak no longer cares how weak the opponent is, max HP or 1 HP, they are all but dust. So that's going to be the main thing of rotating around the SP2. And the utility, I guess that's really kind of the True Strike. That's kind of it with that passive there. So yeah, it is what it is. And then SP3, 100% chance to inflict a disorient debuff, reducing block proficiency by 50%, defense ability accuracy by 30%. Daze has been replaced with disorient, coupling with some defensive ability accuracy reduction with the added block proficiency. I don't know, that's kind of a bit of a weak SP3, to be brutally honest. I guess the main narrative is playing SP1, SP2 with this champion and heavy rotations and focus and hitting into blocks to get crits and stuff like that. Synergies wise, well, where's the synergies? It's like Kabam have said, okay, so he's not going to be more of a standalone champion. He's going to be like, you need synergies with him in order to make him good. I don't know. I've kind of like now gone up. It looks a little bit disappointing. It kind of like started off really well, and it's kind of like just tailed off with stuff. Signature ability now. Stricter training regime allows Karnak to begin the fight with 1 focus charge. Focus charges are important. Ignore 100% of the opponent's positive physical resistance. And striking the opponent's block grants Karnak 110% of the power an unblocked attack would have granted. So I don't know if Kabam was saying, like with the rotations here, that the building of power, which is important by hitting into the block with a higher signature, allows you to quickly gain specials like SP2 in order to rotate around doing more SP2s, in order to do get the more Fury passives, do the more damage. I don't know if that feels like the rotation that Kabam was saying with the signature ability. is a case like it's, again, goes down to what I said in yesterday's video, if you watched it, which was it was the speed and momentum to get to the damage. So where's the synergies? There's like nothing here. Enemies, family, teammates, nothing. So I don't know if it's other champions have had built synergies, like maybe the Inhuman Royal Family has something that now benefits Karnak a bit better than it is, because that's just kind of like a bit, well, nothing going on. You know, we've got with Medusa, we've got the Karnak synergy, which is become focused 35% faster and true strikes last 35% longer. Well, they already last longer, and as well focused. Well, I guess building focus charge, something like that. Would that be the benefit there? Unless Kabam are going to change it, which could be more likely. We'll kind of like we'll have to see. Bit of concern with it, got to be honest. Bit of concern with it, but we'll see. It'd be handy to give it a test. I can't remember when. I think it's like it's not next week, but it's the week after. I want to say that the buff goes live on the 2nd of 1st or 2nd of November. So wow, we're going to be into November soon. So look out for that when that drops. But yeah, that has been the video. That has been a little video going over the Karnak buff. What are your thoughts on what you've heard so far and what you've read? Put it in the comment section down below. I'm a little bit dubious on this one, and the Nebula one seemed good, so I don't know. I think the Nebula one is probably gonna be a little bit better than the Karnak one, but needs to be tested first in order to get to that final thought. Make sure as well to check out some other content located on screen right now. Have a lovely day, whatever you're doing, and we'll see you in the next one, whenever that will be. Bye-bye.